Hi, and welcome to the AVEX podcast. Today I have with me Claudia, joining us remotely for our first remote recording. Claudia, thanks for joining us and welcome to the AVEX podcast.
Hi, hello, James. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And I'm glad that I'm the first online virtual conversation, given you work at
Yes,
AVEX. It made it sounds cool. So
yes.
I'm glad it's that way.
Brilliant. I mean, we're so pleased to have you. I mean, I've known you for a while, pre your current role, and I think you've been always a pleasure to deal with, Claudia. So the pleasure is mine,
Ah,
to
thank
put it
you.
that way. Start
Thank
the
you.
ball rolling. Talk us about your, who you currently work with, your role in terms of technology, so we can sort of set the scene for what we're
Sure.
going to talk about from an innovation and technology standpoint.
Sure. Sure, absolutely. So we've met, I was at Vodafone at the time. And actually, I was at Vodafone Luxembourg, but before then, I used to work with a lot of people at AVEX when I was at Vodafone UK in London. But my career has been, the majority of it has been in digital transformation and innovation.
Mhm.
And basically, what I do at the moment is I head up the strategic innovation department inside of Brisa Group. And Brisa Group is a Portuguese company. I'm
Right.
now in Portugal. I moved recently, 6 months ago or so. And I lead this team, and the purpose of the team is to bring new products and services to the company. So we scout for cool, innovative products for startups or whatever it may be. We speak with big corporates. We try to understand what they are doing,
Right.
and also with academia as well. So we partner a lot with academia. But then you may be wondering, what is Brisa Group? Because you are not Portuguese, so therefore you may not know. So Brisa Group is the leading motorway management company. So we have
Right.
around 1,000 miles of motorways, the most significant ones, if we can say it that
That's
way.
a lot. 1,000 miles. Yeah.
Yes, and we manage its daily
Right.
activities, and also make sure that is safe, secure, that the motorways are clean, are ready for anyone to travel in it. And of course, our motto is always to have the safest journey possible for anyone. And
Right.
and in order to do this, what we're trying to do is to bring a lot of new, cool technology, new, cool services
Hmm.
and products that can help us expand this, but not only just
Hmm.
this. We are a big company inside of Portugal. So, therefore, we look for technology that helps us potentially with, of course, safety in our motorways or maintenance of our motorways, or potentially even things for, say, customer service, could be for HR,
Right.
for finance, could be anything. Of course, the main focus is our core business, but of course
Hmm.
could be anything. And then the company is quite big in the
Right.
sense that has other companies inside of the group. So Brisa Group is a group, and then you have
Uh-huh.
other companies inside of it. And we can
Right.
have digital services, we have inspection company as well for your, how do you say it in English though? So when you have
To
to
be
take your car
certified,
to this
maybe.
sort of a inspection.
So please carry on.
Yes, so basically we have these companies inside of the Brisa Group. We have the digital services. We have also
Hmm.
inspections for cars. We have
Right.
also the small, well, depending on the concept, but when you go into the motorway and you want to stop to
Ah,
put diesel or to charge your car, and then you go and you have a
right.
meal. So we also manage all of this within the motorway. Not all of them, this
Ah,
sort of service areas, but we have a
uh-huh.
large number of service areas that we manage. And let me tell you, because I
Right.
travel a lot in Europe by car,
Uh-huh.
and
Hmm.
these are the most amazing service areas that I've ever seen in my entire life. And not because I work for the
That's
company,
great.
even before,
Uh-huh.
they are really great. So basically we bring
Hmm.
innovation to all of these portions of the company. And that is my role
That's
mainly.
great to hear. And it sounds to me like you've taken essentially tech and innovation and you've literally just given it wings and you're flying and your limits are you're limitless essentially, which I think is absolutely fantastic. In terms of looking at the scale of what you do, it'll be quite good to understand the context of how you scale up innovation, because you're looking at tech in open areas, service areas, motorways, you have to make sure you're 100% cautious in terms of the build, so it's safe, but also scaling up. There's a lot of stuff you have to consider in terms of people, safety. So talk me through what that looks like from your standpoint.
So scaling, I find it that innovation and scaling is sort of a relay race. So we need to pass the
Right.
baton to various different teams in order to have the full picture and have it implemented. So it's not like a one team show. I think it has to be a one company show to some extent, especially for Brisa Group. Absolutely. For Vodafone, there is a much larger organization. Of course, you wouldn't touch on every single company, department or team, but here it's a different story, perhaps.
Right.
But so how do you scale? I think first and foremost, you need to have the right culture in place. If you don't have the right culture in place, there's no way you're going to be able to do anything. There's this old cliche sentence, but it's quite true, which is change only moves as fast as the slowest person adopting it in the company, right?
Right.
It's a cliche, but it's true. And to be honest, so I have to do a lot of work in terms of educating, and I want to sound patronizing in any shape or form, but educating the company, educating the people to understand what can we do with technology, what is available out there. And that's our job, my job as well, because people are so ingrained in their day-to-day activities. And it's fair because they have too much going on, too much work to do, and perhaps they don't have the
That's
chance or
true.
the opportunity to go and understand what's out there. And I go to
Right.
conferences, my team goes to conferences, we speak a lot with big corporates, we engage a lot with academia. So we get this kind of kind of a 360 view of what's going on, and also the
Right.
international view, of course, which I bring as well to the team. But this is the aim. So you have to have the right culture in place, the right mindset, and then it's testing. I find testing is one of the most important things. So we do pilots with the
Right.
proof of concepts. We try and test as much as we can, and of course we are here talking about safety of people. So we have to be very careful as well, to some extent. Not everything is about safety of people, but it's indirectly connected potentially to it. So
Right.
here we have to be careful. And once we decide to move with something and implement something, that's where I say is a big relay race where everyone needs to be part of it, and then you start scaling it, but needs to start with the mindset of the company, without a doubt.
Right. So you've covered quite a bit in that, which I think to unpack, is good. So you're talking about a culture of a company being right for innovation and tech, which I completely agree with. But then you're talking about you taking the lead in terms of you being informed, you going out to see all the latest and greatest tech. So you are the business tech lead. You're seeing stuff based on the culture of the business, and then you're obviously moving very quickly to adopt it. That's fantastic. Now, in terms of tech, though, and this is off script, but would you look outside of safety when you're looking to take on tech? Can you give me one other thing or two other things that you're looking at? When you're looking to adopt tech for whatsoever use you want to use it for in an instance, what are you looking for?
So it depends very much on what it is that we are looking for. So we have the push and pull in a way, right? I think every innovation department has something like this, whereby we
Yeah.
have a team that potentially has a problem and they tell us, listen, I have this issue. I need to figure out how can I fix this? And then you do this sort of work with them. Or the other way around, we go to a conference, I speak to someone, I see some cool text somewhere, and then I try to understand how the teams would take it if we were to bring it on board. So
Right.
one of the big areas that we can do a lot is, for example, customer service. Is understanding
Right.
how we get from all of the channels that we interact with all of our customers, how we can provide a better service to them. And how can we make the life of our employees much better as well? Because
Right.
responding to angry emails every day, it's not anyone's dream job. So we just want to understand how can we make the life of everyone happier, our customers,
Right.
our employees, and make it more efficient, more productive, and more cost efficient. Could be, for
Right.
example, in procurement. It could be just doing something in procurement to understand how can we be more transparent in the way we procure, for example. How can we be sure that we are buying the right thing from the right supplier, for example, could be something like that helps kind of strip away biases from
Uh-huh.
humans when you buy certain things, for example. Could be, for example, one of the things that my team has done, which sounds quite small, but it's not, it's a big undertaking, was train the majority of the company in
Mm.
in AI. So go for this sort of training course to understand how they can use AI for their benefit
Right.
on their day-to-day jobs. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone can go on ChatGPT and write some sentences, but that's not the right thing to do. So you want to understand very well how can you use that to your benefit? How can you use
Right.
AI as a concept? But then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, a lot of our focus is how can we, for example, just so you know, at the moment, I told you that we have 1,000 miles of motorways. And how do we
Yes.
ensure that everything is in the right place and everything is great? Of course, we have cameras, but we have people
Mm-hmm.
that drive every day on our motorways to be sure that if they encounter someone in trouble, if they encounter something on the road, whatever it may
Mm-hmm.
be. So we could potentially save a lot of hours and a lot of cash by doing something different. Perhaps. I'm not saying that this is
Right.
what we're doing, okay? I don't want to unveil anything, but
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
be you fly a
Yeah.
drone or you put different cameras with different sort of lenses strategically in different places. Could be lots of
Right.
different things. So this is not safety directly, but
Mm-hmm.
it's indirectly. And we have a lot of things that we do in our digital brand that is called Via Verde, like Green Way, if you translate it. But it's for payments and for parkings and to make your life easier. So what we want to aim to
Right.
do eventually is to be intermodal, right? So you seamlessly move between different ways of transportation, different modes of
Mm-hmm.
transportation with no issue. And then you don't even have to bring your wallet with you because there's something,
Yeah.
a device or your phone or whatever it may be that communicates with the machines automatically. Could be to charge your car, could be to then
Right.
to go on the motorways, to pay for
Mm-hmm.
your parking, to pay even for your groceries at the supermarket, could be anything. So we
Right.
have all of these things like in a mesh combined inside of the company, and we are now
Mm-hmm.
expanding internationally as well. So we
Mm.
acquired a group of companies in Spain and in France, and we
Right.
have
Mm-hmm.
one this project in the Netherlands. So the company is looking outwards nowadays as well. So it's an exciting time
Yeah.
to be part of the company because of that international exposure as well, and because of
Mm-hmm.
everything that we are doing in innovation. The innovation department is quite new. It's only 3 years old, but that doesn't mean innovation didn't
Right.
exist beforehand. Of course it did. It's just is now
Yeah.
more organized.
Yeah.
So
But
we have a
focus
lot
innovation.
of new things in sight that
Yeah.
we want to do.
Uh-huh.
But basically could be we could be, and I'm not saying again, I don't want to unveil much, but we could even do something for HR as well. So let's say
Mm-hmm.
we want to hire and we hire often, and how can we strip the bias from the hiring process as well? How can
Mm-hmm.
we make the life of our recruiters easier when they receive hundreds of CVs for one single
Right.
posting? So could
Mm-hmm.
be all of these things, anything really. But of course, as I said
Mm-hmm.
initially, our main focus is on our core business, in the
Yeah.
safety, in the
Uh-huh.
in our motorways and our
Mm-hmm.
digital payments and our digital services. But could be anything inside of the company.
So you're essentially talking about, being consultative, and then you're automating processes, whether that might be on the motorway or out of the motorway, which I think is very relevant because what you're doing, as part of the organization is not just coming up with a solution that you think, hey, this might work. You're saying, we've done a bit of study, this is what we've discovered, and we're going to make your lives easier by automating processes. You're talking about very easily paying for stuff when you're out shopping, very easily, talking about, you refer to the recruitment sector as well, how you can very easily streamline stuff. So I can see that as being very relevant from a tech standpoint across multiple sectors. Now, to my final question, Claudia, tech is great, lots of tech. We see developments all the time. What would you suggest is a great way to make sure your tech is future-proof?
That's a that's a tough question, James. But I think here you need to understand. I see a lot of I've been around doing certain stuff like this for a while now. And what I see often happening is that people tend to buy the new shiny thing without thinking about, does this fit what I'm doing? Does it make sense? Would I do it? Would I not do it? And I saw a lot of that during COVID, I think. Everyone went, oh, I'm going to have a Zoom and a Slack, and I'm going to have all of these
Yeah.
tools. And now everyone is converging just to one, and normally they are converging, the conversion goes to Teams, right? So everyone's kind of stop having all of those licenses and going to one, and they spent a lot of cash on that potentially. So it's a little bit that. So understanding what is that you are trying to achieve, what is that you're trying to do exactly, and be mindful of what is that you're buying. But then there's the other side of the coin, which is, I see this happening often as well, is that organizations sometimes take too long to make a decision. So say, for example, AI. So if you want to have a tool like ChatGPT, Copilot, whatever it may be, and then if you've been still talking about it for 2 years or 3 years now without actually making a decision, the train has gone by. So
Yeah.
so I think you have to be mindful, understand what is the core business, what is that you are trying to achieve. If it's not core business, what is something else that you want to achieve that is outside that core business, and how are you going to achieve that? And be mindful of what you're buying, but be fast as well.
Right.
And one of the
Uh-huh.
things that I see, to be honest, is stop companies should stop having so many committees for decisions. So you go to one committee and
Right.
another committee and another committee.
That
Just
slows
be
down the process sometimes, doesn't it?
slows down. Yes, so you have to be more
Yeah.
autonomous in making that decision. Teams need to be
Yeah.
more autonomous in
Yeah.
making decisions and do the implementations. Now, in terms of tech, I think no one has a crystal ball to say who would have thought in 2021 that in 2022 we have something like ChatGPT. I think no one thought about
That's true.
that,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
There was some sort of a name. Okay, perfect. I think I'm going to have it, something like this, maybe in the future. Or when everyone was going crazy about metaverse, Facebook even changed the name to Meta, right? So there was a
Yeah.
large investment on that. So you never know. So is it going to work? Is not going to work? I think you have to be mindful, but test at the same time if possible, right? So the testing, mindful, speed, and then being able to reverse your decision as well, fast and
Uh,
cheap if you can. So it's like
right.
having this door that you can come back to again. Okay, I entered and but I can exit again. So those decisions
Right.
need to be in the right place. But in terms of the tech that you are going to have, no one knows. I'm a firm believer that AI is going to be, it is the next internet. So it's going to change,
Yeah.
revolutionize the world without a doubt. The sort of path that is going to take, we don't know, but I have a lot of faith in it. And I think that we will have, I expect that we'll have machines working more for humans than before, but they will not replace the humans. I don't believe in that. In
Right.
certain situations,
Right.
perhaps, yes, we always need the human to think strategically, to be sure that the right thing is in the right place. Um, but I believe that we'll see more drones flying around, even for motorways, right?
Right.
For our maintenance and ensuring that we are safe. But I believe that AI is going to be the big thing for the next 20, 30 years. If a new
Right.
crazy tech will come along, no one knows. But as my oldest kid says, he hopes for a robot that can do everything in the house, so doesn't have to do anything. So I
Imagine
hope
you
he's
have a
right.
robot that goes to the gym for you and you lose weight. That'll be amazing.
And I get fit. Yes, absolutely. That is the dream. That is the dream.
But you've given us a lot to think about, and I think you're talking about. We spoke about automation not too long ago. Reliance on tech, not replacing people, of course, but tech doing a big part of what people necessarily do now, which is automation. They can do it quicker than we can. You
Yes.
speak about, you wouldn't be surprised if you see drones. So that's all exciting stuff to look forward to in the future. I believe our conversation has been really helpful. I've really enjoyed it. Any final thoughts from you, Claudia?
Yeah, it's just I see like this kind of going in waves, the innovation departments. Some companies invested heavily on innovation departments, then they
Right.
divested. Some are now maybe late to the party and starting now. Some are thinking about what potentially to do. And I think it's always a nice department to have in any company, right? Someone that has the mental capacity to think about what could we be doing, and the capacity as well to attend all of these events and to bring the information in. Um,
Right.
but also think outside of the box in a way that, okay, I'm not in the job that you do day to day, so I have this way of looking at it from a different lens. But
Uh-huh.
a innovation department is just not a department; it's a discipline, right? So you have to have this culture across the company where everyone embeds it naturally. That's the ultimate
Right.
goal for me. That my job ceases to exist. That I'm not needed, and my team is not needed potentially anymore. So everyone
Right.
starts doing this automatically in a way. Of course, I think there's always nice to have an overarching sort of team looking into what is happening across the team.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, you have to have a very big communication lines to be sure that everyone is aligned, and that's difficult
Right.
to some extent.
Uh-huh.
But the goal is that people start looking into how can I make my life better? How can I make the customers' lives better? How can I be more productive,
Right.
more cost efficient? I think
Uh-huh.
that's the ultimate goal, and that starts with changing mindsets inside of any company. Any company that I've worked
Right.
for in the past
Uh-huh.
15 years, it's the same story. So I think it starts with changing the mindsets.
This has been a great conversation to have, Claudia. It's been a pleasure having you. Take care.